What's going on? This is David W. Williams, also known as Diamond Dave, the founder of the highest paid part-time job in the world. So we're going to do a video version of a post I did on Facebook, I want to say maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, right? So this is going to be really, I got laws of game as a hashtag, but this is really going to be like a kind of like a basic dark persuasion video in which we're going to kind of talk about how you have been persuaded to believe in this myth of black unity, right? And so the reason why you want to listen to this is because you want to get off, right? You want to get away from believing about this myth of black unity because you may believe that black unification is going to get you where you desire. And I want you to believe that black unification will not get you what you desire. It may get you killed. It may get you incarcerated. But probably the number one thing it's going to do is put you in a situation, right, where you cannot take care of your family. And so if you're about your family and trying to push your family forward, you may want to forget about this myth of black unity. Okay? What I want you to understand is, so we got to deal with beliefs, because the reason why people operate the way they operate is because of how they believe things, right? So that person believes certain things about the world, and because of their beliefs, they operate under those beliefs. So what we do with working class black people and poor black people inside the United States, we teach them this myth of black unity. We teach them that the world or the United States will only be better and black people's experiences will only be better if all black people became unified and they all pushed in one direction, right? And we teach them what's going on, Mecca. We teach them this because now we give them something to aspire to and also something to demand from other black people. And then what it does is now it creates a distraction and a lot of contention amongst different black people, because they may see a black person doing something and they say, well, you know what? If these black people just thought about other black people, the situation could be a lot better. And really what it is, in my opinion, it's a way for individuals to avoid leadership, right? It's a way for individuals to avoid leading their groups, for them being responsible for what has happened in their geographical area, right? And then for taking charge of what needs to be taken charge of. Because this is something that is taught to working class and poor black people, so they never organize amongst themselves because they always believe in this myth of black unity. And if we can just get black unity, everything can work in the direction we need it to work in. One of the things I learned from Bobby Steele, right? And I'm not a student of Bobby Steele, but I learned from Bobby Steele, is that when they talked about being a leftist or being a communist or being a socialist, and you start reading these books like Karl Marx, you start reading Lenin, your job as a black person is not to take those books and try to just make that a straight template, right, for what you're trying to do. Your job is to take those books, look at the condition of your people locally, and try to figure out how you could take some of those ideas. What's going on, Akil? What's going on, Miss Brown? How you could take some of those books and apply those theories and those principles to your local situation, right? There was never supposed to be a national situation, right, for the stuff that the Black Panther Party started. And that's something that Bobby Steele talked about, is as they let more people into the party, they started having a lot of issues because it was never part of the core group. It was never supposed to be nationwide and broad like that. It was always supposed to be localized. And then you can be inspired by some of their models and take their models and try to figure out how to make it work in your local area. It was Huey that wanted to spread it out on a national level. We saw how that worked. It really started to cause a lot of challenges and a lot of contradictions in what they was trying to do when you had a lot of infighting. We as black people, we've been taught this, like, we're going to have a national campaign. I remember when the brother Tavis Smiley used to bring all these black people together and start talking about how, like, we had a national solution to black issues. I forgot what they called it, but it used to be something they used to show on CNN back in the day when Tavis Smiley had a lot of clout in media. The problem with that is we believe that these black thinkers, right, and these black politicians and these black academics have a solutions for problems in areas that they are not at in. So I'm from Orlando, Florida. I'm from down south, right? We have certain situations that we have certain problems that are local to us that may be different from somebody in New Orleans, or it may be different from somebody in Oakland, or may be different from somebody in Philly, or may be different from somebody in Kansas City, Missouri, or Kansas City, Kansas. So why should somebody in Chicago who's a leader of his group in Chicago, why would he have a solution to our problem if he don't have people down here that have observed and understand our problem? So I don't need to listen to a bunch of people sit around and talk about how we're going to solve black people's issues on the national level, because we're blinded to this live black unity. There's never been a unified black group in the history of the world, right? It's never happened. We weren't unified in Africa. We always had contradictions and issues with each other. That's part of the reason why so many Africans were sold off that continent, whether they were sent to the Middle East, right? Or they were sent to this part of the world, to the West. It was because of contradictions and conflicts amongst different African groups. We come over here, we have those same contradictions and conflicts. One of the biggest reasons is because we came over here as different groups of people. So part of those contradictions and conflicts stopped us from being organized. Did you have some black organized groups? Yes, you did. Did you have some black revolts against slavery? Yes, you did. But what you have to understand is that we're looking at a group of around 40 million, an estimated 40 million black people. I don't understand why anybody would think we're going to get all those people on the same page. And so what we keep doing is we keep telling working class and poor black people, we keep using these words like black unity. We keep using these words like black community. Right? And we're trying to make it as if black people, the only way we're going to be successful is have some type of monolithic thinking. And it doesn't work that way. What black people need to do is take responsibility, one, for your family. You got to be a leader amongst your family. That's your first group. Your second, this is my opinion, your second group is your local area, right? Who's the group on your block? Right? In which y'all discuss and understand what's things going on. Because the block I'm living on right now, I can go across the street and talk to some people I've known for probably many, many years. I can go down the street and talk to some more people that I've known for many, many years. These people, not only do they know me, they know my family. So on this block, on both sides of the block, we're organized as a group. I don't know what they're doing 3 blocks down the road. That's not my issue. My first issue was what goes on inside this house and then what goes on in my local area. Understand me? I'm not trying to be unified with everybody in Orlando because everybody in Orlando don't want what I want. So there's other black areas in Orlando. I don't even deal with them people. It's not a beef. It's not an issue. We passed that. I just don't deal with them. Why? Because I understand they don't want what I want. And what a lot of times we struggle with is not being aligned with somebody without it turning into acrimony. That's our biggest challenge. We think if somebody's not on our team and wants the same thing we want, it got to be an issue. It don't have to be an issue. There's no way we're going to get millions of people on the same page. And so what we do is we don't teach people to have responsibility for their family, for their self, and for their local area because they think that there's going to be this black person that's going to rise up and they're going to unite all the black people. That's why we keep repeating Garvey. No disrespect to Garvey. He did great things. The UNINA was a hell of a movement. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? But the UNINA was about localized chapters. It wasn't just Garvey doing everything by himself and trying to unite all the black people in the world. It didn't work that way, but that's how a lot of people perceive it. We keep talking about Malcolm. We keep talking about MLK. And we keep repeating these people who built these mass movements. And we don't want to build anything localized because that puts the responsibility back on us as a group of people. So if I want to talk about what's going on my block, that means I have to organize with the people on my block because maybe we dealing with break-ins. So how are we going to deal with break-ins? Well, that means me and the people on my block, we got to organize and stop that. I don't want to deal with that. So what I do is I spend all my time worrying about what some person's doing on social media and how they're going to sell me an info product or a course or how I'm going to go to a rally in which they speak. And I hear them talk and I get emotionally uplifted. And now that becomes my leader because this person is going to unify all black people with their movement, whether they're going to build a school, whether we're going to take a trip, whether they're going to sell me an info product, or whether they have some type of thing going on that's supposed to unify all black people. And if all black people would do is just get on board with this one person, everything would be all right. It's not going to work that way. It's not going to work that way. And we don't want to deal with the reality of the situation. If that was the case, we could go to Africa now. We would see black people unified. But black people in Africa have never been unified. That's why they're not unified today. There has never been a time in Africa where everybody on the continent was on the same page. And that's never going to happen. Right? So we have to stop believing in this myth of black unity. There are going to be black groups in which you're in opposition to. The level of the opposition depends on y'all and how y'all get busy. I've had groups of people, right, which if they caught me somewhere, they probably would have tried to do something to me. That's just what it was. It didn't bother me that that's what's going on because I understand how this world really works. Because that's the real world. The United States has issues with other groups of people. And if they catch those people out in the environment, the United States military going to kill them, no questions asked, because they understand that this is a world of competing groups. And what I'm not saying is that you have to come out with the mentality to smash on every other black person that don't claim what you claim. What I want you to understand is that you not wanting to take responsibility and organize amongst yourself is putting you in a vulnerable position because you've been programmed to wait on this miracle of black unity. It doesn't exist. It's never going to exist. And there's no other group of people, right, that is taught they should believe in that. All Asians don't like each other. In fact, some Asian groups can't stand each other and they won't even marry into each other. All white groups don't like each other. In fact, some white groups can't stand each other and they really won't have nothing to do with each other. All Hispanic groups don't like each other, right? And a lot of them won't have anything to do with each other. What we've taught in America is that black people need to all try to get on the same page because that's the only way we're going to have some success. And what it does is it takes the responsibility away from individual people, leading their own individual family groups and then organize it in their own local area. These are just my beliefs, but a lot of how I believe have to do with how I was raised up. I come out of a neighborhood, I've come out of crews, and I understand that this kind of conflict is normal. Right. And what we have to learn is where it doesn't turn violent or predatory, but the conflict amongst groups, even that may have the same skin color, is extremely normal. So just wanted to do a video of a post that I put up because I understand in this game, you got to hit people with multiple forms of media content because everybody understands different. This is David W. Williams, also known as Diamond Dave. I would appreciate your comments. If you have any feedback, if you know anybody could get value from this, post it out. Talk to you later.